we're going to build upon the last example, and this is going to be another end-to-end video, so you're going to see every mistake, but we're going to make a simple login screen with username and password. So if we just click it, failed. Let's go ahead and enter the username and the super top secret password. Hello. All right, let's figure this out. Let's go in here, design, imports. I'm going to whip through a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about, so we're not wasting a whole lot of time here. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to say I want a column, bang, and I want to put a grid in that column. So now I've got a grid as the child of the column. Seems a little trippy, but it's actually not too bad. Now inside of my grid here, I'm going to click this. I want to have maximum of 2 columns. And let's make this a 300 by 100. Spacing, let's space these out a little bit. So we're going to say 10. All right, now I want to drop in labels and some text. So I'm going to say labels. Actually, it's right there. Drop 2 labels in there. And I want some text fields. So I'm going to say, all right, so text field, drag and drop him right there. Ta-da! And let's grab him and go all the way down to the bottom. A little bit of expert mouse movement there, dragging and dropping him. All right, so we've got that. Let's take our column and let's actually kind of scale this a little bit here. Not going to be super professional about this. We're going to take a button, and I'm going to collapse him so you can see it. I'm just going to drag and drop that button. Boom. Going to go right down to the bottom. I'm going to take that, lay it out in the middle, and then take this button, lay him out in the middle. Take our grid, drop him into center. All right, so going to take this, and what we want to do next is we want to change these labels and change the echo mode here. All right, so let's get rid of this. Bang. Let's go here. Now what we're looking for is echo mode. I don't see it right here, so let's go over to advanced. Usually you can find it in advanced, and if it's just not there, we may have to hunt for it a little bit. I don't think it's in here. I don't think it is. All right, let's go into text editor. Not a big deal. We can figure this out. And I'm going to say echo mode, and I want this text input dot password. There we go. And I'm going to just change this to and let's go ahead and change the IDs here. So we're going to say so we've got username and password. Flip back to our form designer. Yes. Username. All right, everything should be good. I'm going to actually recenter this whole thing. There we go. And let's change this to login. Zoom in so you can kind of see the design here. User, password, login. Magic's going to happen in this button, and I'm going to just drop right into code view because we're going to now be playing with some non-visual stuff here. And I'm going to say property, string, let's make this username. And let's say that needs to be Brian. Got a little keyboard happy there. Let's say the password is password, and ironically, this is not the way you would do it in a production app. I'm going to do it here because we're still in beginner land, and I don't really want to have the conversation about hashing and password cracking and things like that. So we're just going to store this right here. But in the real world application, you would pull this credential out of a database remotely off a web server, and it would be actually not even the password, it would be a hash, and then you would hash this in real time. So anyways, that's a much more complex conversation than what we're having here. The current status is failed. There we go. That makes more sense. Now we need to add a pop-in. Pop-up, not pop-in. I was thinking of a completely different language for a moment there. And we're going to say status, pop-up, close policy. By now, I don't think anybody would be offended if I copy and pasted, but I'm not going to do it just yet. So close on escape, and I'm going to say pop-up, close on press outside, anchors. We're going to go ahead and center that in the parent. Width, 200, height, let's go with 300. Modal, let's go ahead and set that to true. That way they have to interact with it. Focus, yes, so it gets keyboard input. And let's add a label. So we're going to say label. I'm going to say status label, anchors, center in parent. Should be very, very obvious what I'm doing here. We're basically just adding a label, centering it. All right, so we're going to say here's the status. And let's go with font.bold. Like I said, almost the same design pattern as last video. Just a different way of doing things. So now we're going to go down into button land here. And this is where the magic happens. So we're going to just simply say on clicked if, and we want username. We've talked about type cohesion before, so we don't need to have that conversation, but we're comparing a string to a string. If we're going to say that, and then we're going to say the status equals hello. And you could get super snazzy like hello and then whatever the username is, but we don't really need to do that. And then we're going to say stat pop up, and we're just going to open that bad boy up. All right, save and run. And if everything works the way we expect it, we can just simply type in some garbage. Notice it's echoing that password mode. It's failed. All right, let's do this correctly. So I'm going to type in the username, in this case Brian, and then I'm going to delete this and type in our password, PASSWORD. Never, never, ever do that in a production app. Hello. So the takeaways from this is that once you start getting into a certain design pattern, it's easy and very quick to just rapidly build an application. Some of the things we probably did a little more difficult than we needed to just to show the long way, and some things may not be to your liking. For example, I have this inline. You may want to do it in a connections object.